Hello, everybody. Good Tuesday to you. I'm assuming, unless you're not watching this on Tuesday, then good for whatever day it is. So I know you guys had a long day of testing. So from what I hear from Dr. Oliver, you guys are doing really well at this. So keep up the good work. Keep paying attention. As a warm up, we're going to pause the video and have you guys. We're going to give you about 2 minutes, 2.5, 3 minutes to complete this warm up. Go ahead and fill in all the missing blanks in the table and write an equation. All right. So hopefully you got a chance to do that. Here are your answers, just in case. So you could have done this a bunch of different ways. You could have said, what do I multiply by 8 to get to 10? And I could have done that by doing 10 divided by 8. But I like doing it this way since I know I got to bring it back to 1. 8 divided by 8 is 1. So I'm going to take this 10, and you know, it's funny, you do this, end up doing the same thing. You just divide by 8. So 10 divided by 8, I got to get my calculator out, and I get exactly 1.25. So that means I just figured out that when one person goes to the concert, the amount that the stadium makes is $1.25. That must mean it's $1.25 per person. Interesting. So pretty much I'm just multiplying the amount of people times 1.25. So 9 times 1.25 is $11.25. And then when I got to the P, remember you just say, okay, what do I multiply P by? Well, I'm doing 1.25 times P. And that's all you do there. So the equation would be to figure out the money, the M, that the person spends, it would be 1.25 times P. All right, so now this, Dr. Oliver told me that this was the one thing when it came to speed that you guys were a little bit mixed up on, but I'm here to tell you, hopefully this will really help unconfuse you. I don't think that's a word. But so here's the big thing. When we read this, this is on page 112. Go ahead and pause as you turn to page 112 so you can fill this in with me. You're going to do some problems on your own, but this one we're going to do together. But make sure, don't just fill it in. You know, stop Dr. Oliver if there's something that I say that you're like, I don't get that. Okay, just stop the video. We'll talk about it. Now, the big thing here is it says that the plane is flying from Denver to Chicago, and it says it's flying at a constant speed. That means it's flying at the same speed. It's not going faster or slower. Whatever speed it's going at, it's going the entire time. And it's going between Denver and Chicago. It took the plane 1.5 hours to fly 215 miles. Now, that's important. So as you see right there, they filled that in the table already for you. Now, this column, when something is flying at a constant speed, that means that this entire column is going to be the same. So we could just do that last. We don't have to do that now. We could do that last. Okay? Don't even worry about that now. But here's the deal. Every single number in that column is going to be the same because it's going at the same speed. But right now, we want to know the relationship. It's proportional between time and distance. So we got to figure out, what are you multiplying time and distance, time to get to distance? Okay, what are you taking what are you multiplying by? So in this case, I see 915 and I say 1.5, and I'm going to do the way that sometimes I don't love this way, but I'm just going to take 915 and divide by 1.5 to see what am I multiplying 1.5 to get. And on my calculator, 915 divided by 1.5, I get 610. That means you're multiplying the amount of hours. Every time you have an hour, you're multiplying 610 to get the distance. Well, wait a minute. As soon as you get that information, speed is just, to get speed, it's basically how fast are you going? How fast per hour do you go? And this is telling you you're taking 1 hour and you're going 610 miles. That tells you that whatever you're multiplying the time by to get to distance, that's the speed. You're going 610 miles every hour, which makes sense because in 1 hour, you go 610. 1 times 610. Then I'm just going to multiply 2 times 610, and there you get 1,220. 2.5 times 610. Notice I'm doing the same thing every single time. Hopefully you guys are seeing that pattern as we do all these problems. And you get 1,000. You must have gone 1,525 miles. But again, every one of these, since you're multiplying by 610, your speed is going to be 610. Doesn't matter how many hours you go or how much distance you go, your speed is going to be constant. And last, when it says t, remember we did this before, it's going to be 610 times whatever t is. And that's it. Okay, now there's more on this page, I know. So I'm going to delete this. You could pause it in case anyone has any questions. But I'm going to bring this up a little bit. Oops, sorry. Let me bring this up. All right. How far does the plane fly in 1 hour? Well, we already answered that in our chart. How far would the plane fly in t hours? So t hours, so again, you're not telling me. So that's the one I think you're going 610 times t. That's how far it would go. You don't know what t is, but it would be 610 times t. If d represents the distance the plane flies for t hours, so they're saying this is d, the distance, t is the amount of hours, write an equation that relates t and t. So that's what we've been doing. That's what we did on the first problem, the warm-up. So to find the distance, you would do 610 times t. That's all it is. That's the equation. How far would a plane fly at 3 hours? Well, we're just going to use our equation. So now we know that the time is 3. So I'm going to put a 3 in there. So instead of 610 times t, I'm going to say 610 times 3. And that gets you 1,830. Okay? Now, you guys now get a turn. Turn to page 113. Okay? I want you to take about, this should take about, literally, it's basically just like the last one. You're doing the same thing. Take about 4 minutes and fill in the table and then, well, basically answering these 3 questions. The first question is completing the table. As you're doing this, it's talking about honey and flour, and we talked about how important it is to stay proportional so that you bake the same tasting, what are they doing? Bread dough. They're making bread. All right. So hopefully we paused the video. You guys had a chance to try this. We can take some, let's get some of you guys telling us what you got. Let's see if you're right. Anyone want to take a chance? And pause the video for people calling out their answers. And let's go through what you should have got. So in order to find out what you're multiplying honey by to get to flour, I took this information I had. I do know that when there's 8 teaspoons of honey, I use 10 cups of flour. So to figure out what I'm multiplying by, I'm going to do 10 divided by 8. And 10 divided by, you don't always do the bigger number by the smaller number, but you want to take the number on the right and divide it by the number on the left. But in this case, it is bigger minus smaller, and you get 1.25. That means you're multiplying the honey by 1.25. So when there's 1 teaspoon of honey, there's 1.25 flour. And now that I know that, I could either say times 16 if I want to go from 1 to 16, or I could just take the 16 and just multiply 1.25 across. 16 times 1.25 is 20. 20 times 1.25 is 25. So 20. And then H. Well, again, you don't know the amount of honey, but you would just take H and you would multiply by, you would do 1.25 times whatever H is. So that would be the equation. Number 2 tells you to write an equation, and it's telling you that the flour is C. So to get the amount of flour, or C, you're going to do 1.25 times H. And last, how much flour is needed for 15 tablespoons of honey? So again, you're just going to put a 15 in there, and you are going to multiply by that same number, 1.25, and you will get 18.75 cups of flour. Oops. All right. And then, for 17 tablespoons, you would do 17 times 1.25. And that answer would be 21.25. And you're going to always want to say cups of flour. Okay? Hopefully that helped. All right, now go ahead and turn to page 115. Now, if you have time, I'm hoping you do, now's your time to shine. Let's see how much you know this, okay? If you understand this, you technically should be able to fill out page 115. Now, if we don't have time, it's not necessarily going to be homework, but if you want extra practice for your quiz, try this on your own, pause the video, try this on your own, and then we're going to go over the answers, okay? But if you're in class right now and you do have time, we're going to give you guys about 5 minutes to try this. But you should technically, if you understood today's lesson, then we should be get this right. I would say maybe number 2 is a little bit of an application problem, but I have faith that all of you guys can do this correctly. All right. So hopefully you had a chance to do this. If not, and you're doing this at home, here are the answers. But please make sure you try this on your own before you just listen to the answers. So I got to read this first because I'm looking at the table and not enough information is filled in on the table for me to do anything. So it must be in the words, the directions. A certain ceiling is made up of tiles. Every square meter of ceiling, so it says every square, but that means every 1 square meter of ceiling requires 10.75 tiles. Well, that was actually, let me go make this bigger so that you guys can see this better. Oh, oops, that is not what I wanted to do. There we go. So hold on one second. There we go. That's not what I wanted to do. Just want to just clear the annotation. There it goes. Okay. Let me go ahead and make this bigger, and so that I can enter this. All right. So right away it says that every square meter of ceiling requires 10.75. So they gave us information. They said for when it's 1, it's 10.75. Well, that gives us the key there. You're multiplying times 10.75. Well, 10 times 10.75 is 107.5. Notice I just moved the decimal over. That's the trick. I don't know this information, so I'm going backwards. So now I'm doing 100 divided by 10.75. And remember, the reason why I'm dividing is I'm going the opposite way. Oops, I think I didn't do that right. 100 divided by 10.75. Oh, I do you get about 9.3. It's a decimal that is going to go on forever. And then to go this way, remember, if I don't know what it is and they use A, that just means so what am I doing with the numbers in this column? I'm doing 10.75 times A. And there's your answer to that part. Let me erase this. Oh, I did it again. Oh no. Oh, guys. So, you know what? Actually, it's funny enough. The Active Studio, I got lucky there because I still have it up right here. That's exciting. All right, so let's see. I might not be able to write on this anymore, but I can at least go over the answers. There we go. Oh, nope, too much. All right. So number 2, on a flight from New York to London, an airplane travels at a constant speed, so same speed. An equation relating the distance. So the D is the distance in miles. So if D was 70, it would mean I went 70 miles. And the number of hours flying is T. How long will it take the airplane to travel 800 miles? So basically it's giving us, if you look at the equation, it says T equals, so to get the time, you have to do 1 over 500, which is basically dividing. If you multiply by 1 over 500, you're dividing by 500. So I'm going to do 800 divided by 500. That's like multiply. They're giving us what the D is, and they're saying times 1 over 500, which really just means divided by 500. And you get 1.6 hours. That's how you would do number 2. Sorry, I can't write on this. Each table represents a proportional relationship. Find the constant of proportionality. So if you look in the this one right here, you're just saying, what are you multiplying S by to get to P? And I can see that every time you're multiplying by 4. So the constant of proportionality is 4. And then P equals 4 times S. For the second one, the one on the right, I'm going to do 6.28 divided by 2, and you get 3.14. So the constant proportionality is 3.14. And the equation is C equals, to get to C, you take whatever D is, and you do 3.14 times D. Hope that helps.